So I'm fighting another uphill battle, because I've got the latest thing that actually makes a big difference. And then they're going to stick their, the same people that were wanting to hang me from a tree for doing flat rate are now defending flat rate when we talk about margins, margin price. There's a lot of work to do. That's why I'm in the space. That's what we're going to do at Sarah. We're going to solve this stuff. Sorry, nobody else is doing it, so we might as well do it. What we're going to do.
From Sarah Systems and Billy Go, this is No BS with Billy Stevens and Landon Brewer, the unfiltered, straight-shooting podcast that dives deep into the heart of home service trades to uncover the truth about running your business. You're entering the No BS zone with Billy and Landon.
Welcome to the No BS with Billy and Landon show. We're so glad you could join us again. Today, we've got some really cool stuff we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the margin versus flat rate. This is one of our number one requested things that people have been asking us about. What is the difference and how does it help my business? Before we get started.
You mean we're talking about a topic that people want to know instead of making it up on the fly? Look at this.
Oh, my gosh.
That would be what some call progress.
Man, it's just like, rappers, man, they just make it up on the fly and look how well they're doing. Why can't we do the same thing?
I feel like Eminem just comes out and just blurts out lines before he goes on stage every time, huh?
That's it. Anyway, if you don't know who that guy is that you hear combating with me a little bit, that's our man, Landon Brewer. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. We got to pick a better target than you, Billy. We got to get my aim focused on somebody else.
I'm too easy, right?
That's right.
How you been, buddy?
Oh man, I've been amazing since we last spoke. I can't tell you exactly what I accomplished, but I'm sure it was a lot.
There you go. Well, maybe your memory will come back soon.
There we go. Just give me a couple.
All right, everyone. Let's get started in this. Appreciate y'all jumping on board to listen and watch. Hey, and real quickly, I want to say a couple of things. We are now on Apple Podcast, so you can go there and check out our show if you like that genre better. Or again, YouTube. We're doing really well on YouTube. I'm very excited about how quickly this is taking off, and the
moving up in the world, baby.
Fan letters
moving up in the world.
Are you getting fan letters? I am.
Yeah, you should see what some of these fans are sending me in the mail. I can't even talk about it up the air. Yeah, it's crazy. They just come out of the woodworks, man. When you
the 80s all over again. Awesome.
I don't know the demographics of who listens to the show, but I'm sure whatever might sound sexy to me, it would come to me in the exact opposite form that I would like.
Right. Awesome.
Well, so we're down to the business of pricing today, huh?
We are. This is a pretty important thing. I mean, it's really important actually for your business. Just getting down and knowing your pricing like it should be, and then having that pricing, have a direct reflection of your P&L. I mean, that's the whole idea here. That's why I use margin pricing versus flat rate. Now, just to sum this up real quickly, at the end of the day, you just give one price. It's just how we figure it. And we're using the financial statements to figure our pricing, which is what we need to work on, right? If we want to improve our financial statements, why don't we just use the numbers that we have there in front of us? I've always said, and I'm a big advocate of this, is the financial statements are the KPI that you should be looking at first. And then you can go look at all the other ones and see how they feed into the financial statement. But you've got your P&L statement is the number one thing. And you should have this every month from your CPA by the 10th of the month, at 12th of the month at the latest. I mean, I make my people give it to me by the 10th. And then I immediately start diving in and checking out what's going on and seeing how the things that we change with margin pricing and all the other things we do in the businesses, how it was affected. But there's no other way to affect your gross profit quicker than using margin pricing. I can guarantee you that there is nothing else you can do that will affect your gross profit quicker than margin pricing. And
Well,
so
so
that,
that's like a 30,000 foot overview, right? Of the difference between kind of, traditional flat rate pricing, what, margin pricing is that it's based on your financial statements, right? So dig deeper in that. Do you just get your financial statements, say, oh man, the profit sucked, time to increase pricing? Is that what margin pricing is?
right. Yeah. I mean, that's it. And I just do that. And then I go home and have a beer.
Oh, this is crappy.
Yeah. Oh,
$50 an hour more.
yes. Just go it. Margin pricing, if you get it right, allows you to lower your price if you need to and actually make more money. That's the
Yeah.
secret of it. And so, when you pair that with job time efficiency, you get right on the money. And so, people just don't have the data to show them that, if you were slightly cheaper, maybe you would sell 3 times more. Or maybe you're too high and it's causing you not to sell as much. And maybe it's all about figuring out that perfect spot for your pricing. And it's very easy to do. And
Would
so,
you say that the difference is really, though, that it's more of a dynamic pricing than a static pricing? That, the dynamic pricing that kind of ever evolves based on the situation of your business versus kind of a static, generic flat rate price?
right, it's very dynamic because it does make an effect immediately because of the formula. The formula is very simple and very relatable to the P&L statement, where flat rate pricing is you put a bunch of formulas together and you come up with all this stuff and then you divide it by 2. So what was the whole point if you're just going to cut it in half anyway? Because it's a guess. I guarantee you that's all it is. So if you're out there and you're like, I'm at $300, $400, $500 an hour. Okay. What does that mean? What else do you know about that? Nothing. You don't know anything else about it. You just know that you're at $300 or $400 an hour. You don't know the inner workings of it. Like, okay, well, how much of that is labor? How much of that is material? How much of that is, you don't see, you can't figure all that out because the analogy I like to use is a vegetable soup that has all these different veggies in it and meat and all this stuff. That is what a flat rate price is. It just is soup with all these ingredients. It tastes great, right? It does the job. It's all contained in a bowl. So it's all right there in one spot. Where margin pricing is when we know how many pieces of potatoes, how much celery's in there, how much tomatoes, beef, whatever. We know exactly what's in there instead of just a bowl full of soup. Like that's flat rate. Where margin pricing is, we know exactly what the ingredients are and how many there are. And so that is all really the difference. And it's even easier to figure out than it is to figure out margin pricing. Because margin pricing at the end of the day is a guess. I mean, excuse me, get myself confused here because that's what they do.
Flat rate
pricing is just a guess.
That's kind of the fundamental problem that I've always had. Like, now, don't get me wrong. For a long period of time, it was the only, real more viable option for a lot of people in doing time material and just, estimating, random, making random quotes, some arbitrary math. But the primary problem I've had with it is that it's kind of just based in this notion that, okay, here's the national average for how long this job takes, right? And what if that job is supposed to take you half an hour and takes you an hour and 20 minutes? Well, then your pricing is screwed up. It's not
Absolutely.
it's not correct, right? It doesn't take into account other efficiency. And when you're calculating what it should be, the formula is like, well, I think we're 30% efficient. I think our billable efficiency is, maybe 40% of the week is they're spending on billable task and the other 60%. And it's just kind of like a guess. There's very little scientific stuff that goes into it. And even when there is a more scientific approach where you're actually kind of charting out how the technicians spend their week, what your actual productivity is, all these things, there's this, it just is never right? There's so many tasks depending on what your trade, whether it's plumbing, electrical, HVAC, there's so many different tasks, so many different items, so many different packages that you can put together and try and come up with these price points. And it's just It's very, very difficult, even for if you got some smart people working on this and managing your price book. It's very difficult to have it dialed in so that your margin comes out as you'd anticipate.
Exactly. And another good example of why flat rate pricing is a guess. I'll give you a perfect example. We all know that majority, if not all, air conditioning contractors put 8 hours in their amount of time it takes to put in an air conditioner, and they have to do it that way because of flat rate pricing. That the rate is so high that if you put any more than 8 hours, you'd never sell anything. And the truth of it is, it takes 20 hours to install an air conditioner. And let me back up. So 20 hours to install one. Well, let's think about that for a second. You send 2 guys out there that work an 8-hour day. That's 16 in itself, but yet we're using 8. Okay. So now we're data's wrong. Now, already it's wrong. Number 2, you probably have a tech that flips it to a salesperson. That tech drives out there. He does whatever he does. By the time he drives there, he talks to the customer, comes up with the assessment that maybe you need to see a sales consultant. He's 2 hours in by the time he does all that. Then we get all these other people involved, the dispatcher, the the scheduler, whoever, the managers, to get the sales consultant out there. And again, he's out there a couple hours and he's getting a paid commission. So, I mean, that time does count. So now we got 4 people involved, not including the people we involved in the office. Okay. We got the tech, consultant, and 2 installers, a head and a lead installer and a helper. Those 4 people are already involved in this job. They have to be involved in this job. But yet we have 8 hours allotted for all of their time. And so you've said this on this show numerous times. We're selling time. That's what we're selling. We all sell widgets that are air conditioners, plumbing, water heaters or drain pipes or whatever. We all sell the same widget, but what we're actually selling is time, right? That's what we're all selling. And so we don't even keep time correctly. And that's why I end all of my articles and everything that I say, it's about time. If you look right behind me, it says, Sarah, it's about time, because it's really about time. And this is the whole idea behind margin pricing. It allows you to sell time in a flat rate process, the flat rate price. Okay. So if you have 4 people involved in it, I'm assuming, let's check this out. How many people touch one air conditioning cell? I'll give you an example. Customer calls in, CSR picks up the phone. That's one touch by one person. It's summer. They need an estimate on the system, or maybe they just have a broken system. So we're going to send a tech out. They have a broken system. It's an older system. You send your best tech out. All right. Now we involved the CSR. The CSR gets with the dispatcher and goes, can I get this guy out there? She looks through the board. Maybe she's even calling a couple of texts and going, how much longer are you going to be? I got a great one on the board. So now that dispatcher is involved in that call. She's involved a few more technicians in that call that probably none of them will go, because she's trying to find out who's going to be done the soonest or when they're going to be done. And then she selects one of them and gets back with the CSR and goes, okay, I can get it done. It's going to be later today. I'm going to put it at the end of the day, but we're going to get there. Something like that. So we've already involved all these people and we haven't even started rolling the truck towards the call yet. And we're not allowing for this time. This is time, right? This is time that we're paying people. And so those folks are involved in this call. Now the technician gets it. He runs out there and, just like I said earlier, I got to go through the scenario. He's out there a couple hours. He flips it to a sales consultant. Sales consultant's out there 2 or 3 hours, whatever it is. And then he sells it. Now we're involving the install coordinator, the permit person, the dispatcher, the whoever else that y'all have them talk to when they sell equipment. I mean, and, all the rage is sell at all costs, but have you ever really done the math on how many people get involved?
It's all hands on deck, right? It's like, we sold something, all hands on deck, drop everything.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's right. And so we're not allowing for that cost, because we do put all hands on deck. And so now we're up to, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 people involved in this one call. And this is the one that we sold. How many were involved in the ones that we didn't sell? We have a 60% close rate, 4 out of 10 didn't sell,
Yep.
and we did all this work for free. All of it.
Yeah.
And so flat rate pricing, I'm sorry, it doesn't recover this. And so that is why margin pricing matters, because it's about the time that's involved, that everybody's involved. And of course, you got to pair it with job time efficiency, which you can only get in Sarah. You can't get that anywhere else. I don't even want to go into how long it took us to build that. That is an algorithm from here to Shiola. But my point is 8 hours for an install is ludicrous when we go through the scenario that we just went through. It should be 8 people, not 8 hours. Yeah. And then all the time of all those people. Okay. So we have our $500 an hour flat rate price. We multiply it times 8, add the material, do all the stuff that you do, blah, blah, blah. And then there you go. All right. So you sold your system. Where in margin pricing, what we have here is we know what we need to charge for everyone's time every minute of every day. So if a guy works 8-hour day, we know that we need to charge for 8 hours that day of his time. Now, let's say that guy goes out and he sells 4 hours worth of work and works 8 hours. He's at 50% efficient, right? That's where flat rate is when you divide it by 2. So he worked an 8-hour day and sold 4 hours worth of stuff. That's not very good. That's terrible. Well, with margin pricing, we know that he's 50% efficient, but we also know, since it's dynamic, that someone else sold 10 hours worth of work on an 8-hour day. And now we've made up 2 of the guy's hours that didn't sell his quota. And so that is where you can actually start making up ground, because other people can sell more time than they work, and they sell the time for the installers to be there to install it. They sell the time for the salesperson. They sell the time for the people booking the call, making the decisions, dispatching the call, all these things. All that time is put in there because of margin pricing. So we can go in there and we can figure all this out and we get it all done. And so what happens is you actually end up being able to sell your product at a more reasonable price, because you're dynamic and you're doing it at 100% efficiency. And that is the whole concept. And so that is why I use margin pricing, because I know exactly what I need to do. And then I can easily go and say, all right, the data is telling me that I am under budget by 44 minutes on the average on every install that we install when I figure in everyone's time. When the software figures it in, we're 44 minutes short. Or it can tell me this install crew takes 44 minutes longer than the other install crews, right? Or this salesperson takes more time to sell something than another salesperson. Maybe he could do 3 proposals a day instead of 2, or 4 instead of 3, whatever. And so when I get this data, it's all about data, good, clean data, and doing something about the data.
Yeah. So it allows you to really silo and then target in on what needs to happen within your business to improve profitability, and then what the effect of your pricing, what effect that has on your pricing. So unlike traditional flat rate pricing, for example, it's like, okay, well, got this crew that's slow. This person, these people take twice as long, etc. So I'm going to build the worst case scenario, and then I'll make more money, hopefully, if we get a better crew doing the work, right? And that's just kind of, okay, you're not really addressing or identifying or doing anything to combat the challenge of the inefficiency in your business. You're just trying to make up for it by charging ever more, which at some point there's probably got to be a tipping point, right?
That's right.
So yeah, that's what I really love about it. It's you're assessing, the performance of your business, the efficiency of your business, and the people, the business, how well you're selling your time. And if you need to work on it, you're not losing money at the same time because your pricing is adjusted for that, right? And ideally, you can continue to tweak your profitability by doing both things simultaneously, elevating productivity and efficiency, and then price point, which this is. It is a game changer, but it's the problem, and I think it also addresses the biggest problem in the industry. If everyone were to just kind of adapt to this and just say, hey, it's dynamically made for me based on the performance of my business, and if it was kind of like set it and forget it, it'd be great, because pricing is the one thing that everybody does wrong, right? It's the one thing that, even if you're rigorous about it, you've gone through and you've done the assessments and you just figured out, got it dialed in. How often do the prices change from your suppliers? How often do the labor costs go up? Have you looked around the last 2 years? Look at the price of literally everything. Think this guy, right? Look at the price of literally everything. Right? It's gone up, from groceries. Your groceries have gone up 40%, right? You go out to eat, you go get a hotel room, you go to book airfare, any of those things, 30, 40, 50%. The cost of you living your life has gone up that much. How many air conditioning and plumbing and electrical home services companies you think have just raised their prices by 40% because of that inflationary? None. But look at Coca-Cola, look at Pepsi, look at the grocery stores. They're making record profits, even though their costs are going up.
Mm-hmm.
Because dynamic pricing.
That's right. Right? That's what I mean. We adapt as well. You have to make it easy. I mean, that's why global, nationwide price books don't work, because they're just saying, all right, here's the average. Go run your business. That just doesn't work. I'm sorry. You have different workers, you have different circumstances, different travel patterns. All these things have to be figured out, right? It's not hard, but you just need to look at your business and you can figure it out. I mean, that's what Sarah does. It'll help you figure this stuff out. And so now that you have this information at your fingertips, you need to know what, you need to learn, gather the data. And as the data gets gathered together, you can make pricing. If you get a price increase from your supplier, then no big problem. In less than 3 minutes, the price book will update all the prices. It doesn't have to be complicated. We've gotten so used to stuff that's so hard to do that we just think that's what software should be, hard. It doesn't have to be hard. It can actually be done really simply. And so now that you have this dynamic, margin pricing available, and then you start making your adjustments, what we found out for our business, and I'll talk about, we have lots of businesses on the software, but on the average, what we're finding out about 116%, if you did get your pricings at 116% of actual, meaning what I mean there is like you spend an hour driving to a job. So you want to be this is just a small example of what I mean by 116%. Then you would do like 76 minutes instead of 60. Okay. You follow me? Or you have and that's just one part of it. The drive time is in there, the getting gas time's in there, the waiting for parts is getting there, the going and getting parts is in the pricing. It's all in there. All that stuff's in there. But if your price book, once you get all the data in there and you're at 116% of actual, that additional 16% pays for those things that are not money generating things, like getting gas, waiting for parts, driving to go get parts, flirting with the dispatcher, whatever it is you're doing that is non-productive, because in our industry, we're only 38% efficient. And so that was what, caught my attention. We're 38% efficient. I can't live like that. I need to be 100% efficient. I need to be 100% efficient business. And then by doing that, then we get, the cash flow for a business that we have is enormous. We have this same cash flow that a $100 million business would have. in a $20 million business. It just makes a huge amount of difference. And so how do you offset all this inflation and all the stuff that we're going through? I mean, the price of air conditioning systems has just gone up, and they're not going to stop. And we haven't been able to raise our prices because of it, right? So where do you make it up? You make it up in efficiency. And so if you're at 38% efficient as an average company, you got lots of room for improvement, and you don't even have to, you just have to fix that. You fix that, and you don't have to go and raise your prices 60% to keep up. Air conditioners should probably sell in about $35,000 a system right now. That's really where they should probably be. If you compare it to other type things that are being sold around, whatever it is, a Coke or whatever you brought up, air conditioning systems should run around $35,000 to $50,000 each, but they don't, because you can't ever sell. You would never be able to sell something like that for that amount of money. And that is the problem. But they can sell a truck. I tell you, a Ford F-150 costs Ford about $1,100 a build. It sells for $80,000.
Yeah.
You can't even you can only buy a coil for that. Right. So have you thought about this? You buy a coil and I haven't looked at coil prices. Maybe I need to before I start spouting off prices here. Let's say a coil costs $1,000. We're using easy math here because I don't know the answer. Let's say it costs $1,000. So how much does it cost the manufacturer to make it if they can afford to sell it to you for $1,000? Have you thought about that? Do you think it really costs them $900? No, it does not. It probably cost them, and I bet it costs less than $100 of making a coil. Think about it. It's just stamped steel. That's all it is. It's all built on a machine, an assembly line. It's not even a car, not even a truck. It's just a coil. And you're getting $1,000 for it, right? So it's probably $50 in material and the processing, where most of the money is in research, R&D, right? And marketing, stuff like that.
Well, can I tell you what drives me nuts? Here's what drives me nuts about this. If you go and you talk to, sometimes it's just technicians. I'll be on technicians forums and then I'll hear, the talk that always comes up on tech forums is like people being overpriced and price gouging and, oh, we charge this for that. And I know that you can buy it for this. And it's a constant thing. Like even after all this time, you figure it's kind of basic math. It's, you have to figure out that you have to make a profit, but people are all like in their own industry, like an air conditioning technician talking about another air conditioning technician or their company or another company, charging too much or, ripping somebody. Sure. I'm sure there's somebody that does something unethical and that happens from time to time. Absolutely. But the vast majority of these people are just like, oh, that company charges this. That's highway robbery. It is the most like self-sabotage. I can't stand people that do it. Number one, they're ignorant. They have no idea, the cost of doing business. Number two, it's like they don't understand why they charge what they charge and what they're paying for is actually, the service and time. And number three, it's like you don't see them going crazy on the price of a soda. You don't see them going crazy on that their dinner just went up 28%. Like highway robbery is literally everything else except for us. The only company why are we the only industry in the world not allowed to make money? It's just,
I know, it's so
maddening.
crazy. It's so maddening.
Maddening.
So I had to create efficiency so I can get around it because no one else sees the light. Your competitors, they don't understand pricing. They don't understand that you have to charge a certain amount to make money, real money, like you should be able to. Why should you starve every off season? You need to price it in. You need to price the off season into your business. If you can't create any work in the off season, price it in.
When you first went to flat rate, so you were a time materialist.
No idea what happened when
going back to the Stone Ages, but you first went to flat rate. What did you? So you were hourly, and then you made the jump. Where did you go? Flat rate. How much per hour?
So I went from $45 an hour time and material. I raised the price to 55 and thought I was going to be, rich. $55 an hour. And then in 1998, I joined Contractors 2000, and I learned about flat rate. And I also learned it. I may have learned it from Maurice Mayo first, one or the other. I don't remember which way it went. It was one way or the other. Well, I was totally intrigued, completely intrigued. And I do know in Contractors 2000 that I set in a flat rate class. I never heard of it before. So I did do that. And I didn't go to any other class. I went to that class like 3 or 4 times that day. But anyway, there was a new forum out. I mean, we're first starting to get email. This dated me. Email was a new thing. And then there was a couple of forums that came out. The internet was new. It was very basic. And there was a forum out there. And I remember I joined this forum. It was created here in Dallas by a guy that's well known in the industry. A great forum, still going today. Great thing. But I remember that I jumped in there and I talked about what's happened to my company since I started flat rating, and it was a 100%. Basically, you're a crook. You're ripping off your customers. You're ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself. I went through everything. I ended up quitting the group because everyone thought that I was just, I just killed 100 people for fun, is what it felt like. Defending their $50 an hour time and material. And it took this industry 20 years to get people to finally grab onto it. I can't believe it takes that long. A good 15, if not 20. Even in my first company, all the way up to 2012, people were still not flat rating. And I still run across some today. It blows my mind that there's still people out there not doing it. And so I'm fighting another uphill battle, because I got the latest thing that actually makes a big difference. And then they're going to stick the same people that were wanting to hang me from a tree for doing flat rate are now defending flat rate when we talk about margins, price.
That's how it works. I
It's
remember
just how it works, right?
I remember those days. It was just like it was pulling teeth to try and, with the SGI group, we were trying to get people to, use I think it was called straightforward pricing. And we were trying to get people to use that flat rate. And, we had a lot of, big, like Maurice Mayo, Frank Blau, Mike Diamond was our plumbing guy, George Brazil, like all of these kind of pioneers of flat rate, if you will. It'd be, most of them have passed on now, actually, but my guess is they're probably still using the same thing that they came up with back in the 90s. And but going back, I remember it was like a tug of war with half of the contractors trying to get them to move from time and material to flat rate, which just today sounds so absurd. Like, why would you do flat rate? It's just not even but now I learned, trying to expand my business into other parts of the world, go down to Australia. Those guys, they're still doing time and material and bitching about the people that do flat rate. It's crazy.
Still, yeah.
It's like,
they're 20 years behind.
Yeah, it's like going back in a time machine.
But we're 20,
there's
40,
opportunity.
60 years, we're 20, 40, 60 years behind other industries.
Yeah.
Still ourselves. Yeah. So, I mean, we can't really pick on the Australians.
That's true.
Because our industry itself is still that way. It's way behind other industries. Like you said earlier, why aren't we allowed to charge what we should be able to charge, right?
Yeah.
And so our businesses are so complicated. We got to do something, and we got to build efficiency into the business if we're going to make a difference. If you're really going to make a huge difference in your business and the profitability of your business, you have to have an efficient model. That's the only choice you have. And every one of these companies, when Henry Ford had created the first car, he did it through efficiency. He put together an assembly line. He was able to build the car so everyone could afford one. He just went to an efficient process and then made himself one of the richest men in the world. And Ford's still around. And the guys that were hand building cars, some of them are still around. They cost a whole bunch of money. And most of them are not. And it's the same concept. You've got to figure out a way to have an assembly line for your business. Yeah. Because these businesses require so many people touching these one job gets touched by too many people too many times every day. And that is where the chaos comes from. That's where the inefficiencies come from. That's where the mistakes come from. It just blows my mind the amount of work that is required to sell a water heater or sell an air conditioner or just to do basic jobs that we do every day. It shouldn't be this hard.
No.
Just shouldn't be this hard. And so I refuse to do it the hard way. And so I'm always out there trying to figure out a better, easier way and then share it. And
but that's how business is supposed to work, right? I mean, that's how when I see what I would refer to as some of the most successful, profitable, largest, fastest growing companies in our space, I would say, they're not necessarily innovative. Some of them are innovative, but they're innovative with respect to the rest of the industry for sure, right? So they're constantly evolving, constantly tweaking, constantly fixing, making things more efficient. But our industry has so much runway. People keep asking me this question, where are we at with the industries? Is the private equity era? Like, we have so much runway. Like, even in the largest and most successful companies I've worked within, it's like, okay, well, we may be doing this different and we may be more innovative over here. We may be making this much money. We may be doing all of this, but what's next? Like, we're still broken here. We're broken here. We're broken. It's constantly broken and evolving. It's like, until we become, a publicly traded company, Google, Apple, whoever it is that is the icon to look at. It's like, okay, now we've got the CEO and the executive team, and they get their reports every day, and every position in the organization of thousands of people knows exactly what they should be doing, and everybody's working on innovation and tweaking. Like, we're not there. We're miles from there, right? We're just we're miles from where we came from. We're miles from working out of a garage, but we're even farther from what real business should look like.
I mean, the largest software in our space has only been in our space 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. And we're just getting started. And it was built on platforms built from 20 years before that. And so we're just getting started. I mean, the largest private equity firms don't even have 1% of the industry.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of companies over 100 million in size, the individual companies. There's only a handful. And we're a $500 billion industry, the three biggies, right? And electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. And yeah, you're right. We're just getting started. I mean, we just got off a time and material 10 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever it was. I mean, it's just golly. And so there's so much to do, and building an efficient business is the path forward. It's just the only way to do it. And it's the only way we're ever going to get to where we're making Coca-Cola margins, right?
Yep.
Right.
That's it.
We just have to. And so HVAC, plumbing need to evolve into, like software as a service, right? We need to be HVAC as a service, plumbing as a service. We need to have that same type of business structure and build these things to where they're very efficient. They get a lot of work done for a lot less effort. Having, one person that doesn't make revenue in the office, and they're supporting 1 to 1.2 people in the field, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Because you require all these people to do these simple jobs. And we just broke down what it took to install an air conditioner. How many people touch it? 7 or 8 at least. 20 plus hours of time, 25 hours of time when you calculate everyone's time that touched that one install. No wonder you're not making the margins on those installs that you should be. No wonder. It's because we're not accounting for the real cost of what it costs to do this. And, and in the last 5 years since PE come in, it's sell equipment at all cost. It hasn't improved that process at all. They haven't done one thing to improve that process.
No,
nothing at all. And
sometimes it's backwards. I've heard of a couple of these guys like, okay, we've got better buying power now. We've got, we can become more efficient by consolidating cost structures, right? So we can charge less and sell more. It's like, well, if that's your plan. That's the opposite of brilliant.
Yeah, you're attacking the wrong thing. I mean, yeah, you need to do that, but that's not the problem solver.
Yeah.
It's all the other stuff that happens. Selling a box is a box. There's nothing to that. Yeah. It's all the chaos that goes around that box. That's the problem. And that's the whole idea behind margin pricing. I know if you guys feel like we move, this is the whole idea of why margin pricing is extremely important, is because we need to accommodate all this chaos. And then we need efficiency to eliminate the chaos. And when we do all those things, we can get the margins that we deserve on this equipment. There's just absolutely no reason why we should be giving away all this money because of all this work. Just think if you could take the dispatcher out of the equation, if the dispatcher, not out of the complete equation, but out of this, CSR interrupting the dispatchers, to find out if they could take a call, the dispatcher interrupting the technicians to find out when they're going to be done on the call, all these things, the, selling of the equipment and figuring out how to get it when we can do it. Shouldn't you just know when you can do it when you're right there in front of the customer? Instead of having to go and call, text, email, whatever it is, all three that they require you to do. And then the office calls the customer back 4 or 5 hours later and go, all right, we can do it next Thursday. Really? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. That's way inefficient. We're involved.
It happens every day.
Every single day.
Every day.
Happens every day. Same way with water heaters. Same thing. When you flat rate a water heater, they got 2 hours for the install. 90 minutes. I hear 90 minutes a lot. Folks, that's a 6-hour install. No, it doesn't take 6 hours to actually put the thing in. It takes 6 hours of including all the other stuff that goes on, because most plumbers run around with no water heaters. And they got to go get it. Somebody's got to bring it to them. But obviously, most cases, they don't have anyone to bring it to them. They got to go get it. So the technician's leaving the job, going and getting a water heater. It's the same thing. This is a very, very inefficient process. The second you leave that house to go, what does every technician tell a customer? I got to go and get the water heater. I'll be back in 30 minutes. They always say 30 minutes. All right, maybe you got a guy that's like, all right, 45 minutes. How long does it actually really take them to get back?
Depends on, they stop at 7-Eleven, making a couple phone calls.
Yeah. Sitting in line at the counter, waiting to get waited on. Maybe you're in line in the truck waiting to get in line at the counter. You got to get it picked. Then you got to get in line to get it and put in your vehicle. Or go to Home Depot or whatever it is you're going to do. Go buy one of their heaters, I guess. And then that whole Home Depot process is, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Lord. Anyway, all this stuff has to be addressed. And we can't keep doing it the way we're doing it. We got to address this completely.
And you've made it simple. I mean, that's the beauty. You made it simple, right?
I did. I mean, it just didn't, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it like that anymore. I just can't do it like that. And so we just built it. We just figured out a way to build it and get rid of it. And you know what? We're not even close to being done. We have a lot more to do. I mean, there's just so many areas of the business that are just ridiculously inefficient. Let's talk about private equity again. Why does it take months and months? You buy a $2 million, $3 million company and you spend months just transferring it into your ecosystem. and you get a whole team of people that are doing this all the time, and it didn't solve any problems. It still takes months to get it all dialed in. Yeah.
Yeah, that is another completely, it's a slightly different topic, but totally inefficient process. The integration of
they're more inefficient than we are.
Yeah.
With their processes. I mean, shouldn't it just be like push a button? All right, now we're running.
You'd think. If you had the right playbook going in, it's a lot easier, I guess.
Gosh. Anyway, I mean, it's just the whole industry is what I'm getting at. I'm not picking on.
The supply house, everything is
supply. The supply house, total inefficient, total 50 years out of date. How they run their companies, and how they should interact with us, and how we should interact with them. There are so many things that could be done to make a more efficient process than that. It's just, there's a lot of work to do. That's why I'm in the space. That's what we're going to do at Sarah. We're going to solve this stuff. Sorry, nobody else is doing it, so we might as well do it. What we're going to do. So
you're a scholar and a gentleman. You're a noble figure for taking that on.
Oh yeah, no, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I'd say that too.
I'm a complete idiot. Hey, most over there when I say I'm an idiot.
Most people in software, that I've encountered, most people, like most SaaS businesses, even like they may be at a good spot where they're at today. They've gotten themselves to a good spot, but like you look at the first several years of it, it's just like, why the hell do we do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In that little comfort zone.
Yeah.
Ignore all these problems.
Oh, this shouldn't be that hard. I've got an idea.
Yeah. I'm still wondering why Tim lightened up when I called myself an idiot. What the hell's going on?
I can relate.
By being around me all day?
No, just I always tell people, don't tell me I can't do something. I'll just plow right through it.
There you go. That's kind of
what he's not telling you is he and I have this side game. It's like we take a drink every time you say something dumb. So now we've let you in the secret.
Oh, is that it? So that's why you're on your third one since we started this 30 minutes ago. Good thing it's not alcohol. Yeah. Anyway, energy drink and alcohol is the same thing for Landon. I mean, he still acts ridiculous. Either way, doesn't matter. I've seen him both. I've seen him do both. But so folks, what we're saying is you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep moving forward. You can't get stuck. Now, everybody was against flat rate when it came out, and now you're defending what you wouldn't do before because there's something that's, it's not new. Margin price is not new. It's just what most companies do, just not our industry.
Yep.
It's what you do. Flat rate is like a Band-Aid on time and material. It's not the complete answer. Now we have the complete answer. And I've been doing this since, like I say, I started flat rating in 98. I think I changed it over to margin pricing. Same thing. I still ended up with one price. Customer didn't know any difference. I think 2001 when I was like, all right, I think I've got a better way of doing this. And that's when I started figuring it out. And I've been using it ever since. And that's the valuable thing. And, depending on where people are at in their journey in their business, it's one of the best questions I think you can ask. It's probably even good. You probably interview your employees and they'll tell you where all your inefficiencies are and challenges in the business as well. But like one of the best questions you can ask yourself is like, why? Why do we do that? Yeah. Why do we send people to supply house? Why do we, have XYZ meeting? Why do we flat rate? And how do we come up with this flat rate price? Does it serve us still today? Why are we, employing, runners to do whatever? Like if you just stop and ask yourself, like take yourself back away from inside your business for a second, look, from the outside and ask, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I think you'll quickly start to come up with, maybe we shouldn't be doing it. Is there a better way? Well, here's the why answer you get. Here's a perfect example. A capacitor. I hear this all the time. I just, I get so many 1-star reviews. People get mad when I tried to charge $600 for a capacitor, and everybody says that's where you should be. You should be at $600, but they don't have anything to back it up. They're just like, that's the number. You got to be at 600 because some guru said, let's be at 600. That's crazy. I don't sell them for 600. I'm not even close to 600, and I'm making a ton of money on them. I'm way below that. Way below it. But I figured out that if this is the number one reason for a complaint, because they can go online and see a capacitor's, I don't know, $30, $40. The customer goes, this is only $40 on Amazon. Why are you selling it to me for $600? It's a complaint. All right. So how do you get around it? Number one, you don't just sell them a capacitor.
Yeah. Don't just do that. You package it.
You package it. All right. You change it up. You never sell another capacitor again. I remember when I first got into this business, one of the biggest things that we would do is replace compressors. Are you kidding me? I'm like, that's terrible. That's a lot of hard work. It's dirty. You mess up the customer's area with all the oil. And all the work you got to do with pumping the lines. I'm like, I looked at my guys and I said, we're not going to, we no longer, as of today, replace compressors. We'll never replace another compressor. You're going to replace the condenser, not the compressor. I'm sorry. Now, how do we do that? How do we transition from that? We raised the price of the compressor to where it was as close as the condenser.
Yep.
Next thing we know, it was never a topic. It was never a topic ever again. It was done. And been in this industry 28 years, and I probably haven't replaced a compressor in 23 of those 25 of those 28 years. And I know people don't do it. I'm hoping no one does it now, but it's just, there's no way to make money doing that. It's too too labor intensive, too hard. Go sit in line, wait for a daggone compressor at the supply store. There's a million of them. Just adapt, change, move, keep moving. You got to keep doing this in every angle. And so anyway, that's my rant. I feel like I've been ranting today.
Hey, look at that. You got a rant in today. I like it. I like it. Rubbing off on you.
It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. Oh my gosh. Got to keep moving, folks. We got to keep moving. Times are changing. What was great yesterday is old today. You got to keep moving. You got to start thinking beyond what you're being told. Get out of the Stepford Wives type lifestyle. Start thinking for yourself. Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's get moving. Let's get this thing going in the right direction and start building these efficient businesses. I'm tired of talking about it. And then having other people talk about efficiency and I don't know what they're even talking about. Let's build an efficient business from the inside out, top to bottom. We can do this. And then you're going to make more money than ever. And I always say, again, I say it a lot. You're already making enough money in your business. You're just not getting it to the bottom line. You don't have to change your revenue to actually double your profits, triple your profits, quadruple your profits. You don't have to grow to do that. You want to grow, that's progress, but we got to get off the focus of growing as the only way of doing anything. You go to any guru, you go to any best practices groups, and they're all going to tell you the same thing. You got to grow. Okay. But I'm not making money where I'm at. So what's going to happen when I grow? Still not going to make any money because you didn't fix what was wrong.
Yeah.
And
now you hit on the heart of my, issue. It's like, that's when you go to these gurus, you go to these people, growth for the sake of growth is just a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
That's why I can turn these companies around in 90 days. That's why it only takes 90 days.
Why not take advantage of the fact of okay, I'm here. I'm at this point in my business today. I'm going to stop. I'm going to set this thing up to be a money-making machine. And then I'm going to pour the fuel on the fire once I've gotten the money-making machine. It's like, why would you go the next 3 years and just growth for the sake of growth and all that chaos and lack of cash flow and lack of profitability because they told you to grow and then you'll figure it out later. It's an absolute, that's just buffoonery.
Yep. Total. All right. I think we worn them out enough.
I think we sufficiently covered the topic.
Yeah. Hopefully we got our point across, but we probably need to replay this 100 times. Dang, here I am. I'm still going.
I love it. I love it.
I'm still going. Yeah. Did you put Red Bull in my water?
I did.
Maybe that's what happened. He's spiking.
I told him to put Metamucil. We'll have to do Metamucil next time.
There you go. That's why I go to dinner at 4.
I thought it was senior discount.
Yeah, senior discount, and I got to get home just in case. What it's all about.
Things to look forward to as I age.
There you go. You know, God wasted youth on the young. That's what I've learned.
They really did.
So, all right.
Well, it's been a pleasure, my friend. This has been great as always.
Yes, it has. Thank y'all for listening.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Yes, please.
Remember to like and subscribe.
Yeah, and I want to point out one thing. We dropped a podcast yesterday, Tuesday at noon, and the first 5 minutes of that podcast, Tim stepped up, and he's got some great production going on. And if you guys haven't watched it, what's the name of that one that we dropped yesterday? I don't remember. He's looking it up. And let me tell you, the production value, what we did to Landon, you got to just see what we did to Landon on this thing.
Your biggest opportunity.
Your biggest opportunity is now. Yep. That's the name of it. That's the title of it. And the first 5 minutes are so awesome because my boy goes on a rant.
Oh, it's the rant.
He goes on this rant, and the way that Tim produced that rant, it is classic. So it's worth it. I don't care if you watch the rest of it, folks. Just watch that first 5 minutes, man. I'll tell you what, we're going to make this guy viral.
You're going to give me a reputation like I don't already have one.
We're just compounding the reputations.
I'll bleep the cussing for you. There you go.
Good. Yeah, delete the.
But the best part I love about it is he came right out of the box with it. So it's like, what was he doing right before we started filming this?
Oh man.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
No BS with Billy and Landon is produced and delivered to you by Sarah Systems. At Sarah Systems, we've created a better way to run your home service business and unlock unprecedented growth. Our field service software was designed by real home service professionals to help you save steps, charge for previously unbillable time, and win more business. But the true change requires more than software. Our live coaching helps you understand and control the aspects of your business that matter most. It's about time for a new era of service, and we're leading the way. If you're ready to join the hundreds of other contractors who've been able to increase profit margins more than 50% within 6 months, visit Sarah.tech today. That's Sarah, SERA.tech today.